You're no match for the Hollanders.
I am sure that the three of us can handle any problems.
Hold on. I was just passing through town, saw a little trouble, and thought I'd lend a hand. But I ain't one of your deputies, Sheriff.
Counselor, I would appreciate some support in this matter.
Durango. I'm called Durango.
Yes, Counselor Durango.
Welcome to Gimmicks, a podcast about the high-concept, experimental, structure-breaking gimmick episodes of TV, from musicals to noirs to westerns in space. I'm Derek B. Gale, and who's with me today?
My name is Cassie, but you can call me Durango.
Hey, Cassie, would you like a role in my play that I've written called Something for Breakfast?
Yes.
You don't have to.
Absolutely.
Oh, boy.
I know.
Oh, man. I wanted to find some kind of fun, like, Western thing, but I just could not stop thinking
Something
about
for breakfast.
the title of
I
that
know.
play.
So weird.
Something for breakfast. We are talking about Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 6, Episode 8, entitled A Fistful of Datas, which is one of many holodeck episodes on many Star Trek shows. In this case, Worf, Troy, and Data play cowboys. A brief history of Star Trek The Next Generation, super brief, because obviously there's a lot of history behind Star Trek, but everybody knows what Star Trek is, so like why go too in-depth about it? Star Trek The Next Generation is a science fiction drama, obviously, that aired in syndication from 1987 to 1994. It's the second live-action Star Trek series. It takes place roughly a century after the original series. It was pretty much the start of the franchise's revival on television that would continue throughout the 90s and into the aughts. This is one of those like super influential Hallmark shows of science fiction as a genre and like television in general. Sports an incredibly prolific cast that you no doubt recognize, even if you've never seen a single Star Trek episode, like Patrick Stewart as Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Jonathan Frakes as Commander Will Riker. This episode in particular most prominently spotlights Michael Dorn as Worf, Marina Sirtis as Counselor Deanna Troi, and of course, Brent Spiner as Lieutenant Commander Data.
Don't forget Alexander Rashenko.
Yeah, that kid who I didn't even look up the actor for because I don't think he's very good. Sorry.
I love him. I think he's amazing.
He's cute.
I think he's so good.
He's cute. He is cute. I'll give him that he's cute. That's real, and he's good, and he like does well given like the heavy makeup that he's wearing. I don't like the delivery of any of his lines ever.
That was too easy. It has to be harder to beat the bad guys. Otherwise, it's no fun. Computer, increase program difficulty to level 4. Go back to where my father and I first walked into the saloon.
But he is cute. He's not annoying. So that's a big plus in like 90s TV.
I thought he was a great actor.
He's cute.
I thought he was a great kid. I'm not even kidding.
I mean, maybe it's just because I haven't seen a lot of episodes with him in it, especially not recently outside of this one. It could just be this particular episode because everybody's a little bit heightened.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's what it is.
Maybe that is what
I didn't really like him much in this episode, but you know, I'm glad that you're here to rep him.
I do.
That's okay.
I do. That poor boy's been through so much. Not the actor. I don't know anything about the actor. I just mean the character.
Sure. Well, I do appreciate that. I know that like Worf has such a bad track record for like being a dad.
Yes.
In a lot of ways. So this is a good Worf dad episode, I
Yes.
feel like. So that's nice.
It's true. He does a pretty decent job.
Yeah. So here's the thing. One reason I have Cassie on with me, other than that you're great, pretty much anybody listening probably knows more about Star Trek than I do, including Cassie. So Cassie, what's your personal history with Star Trek?
Sure. So I will first and foremost say that I am brand new to this franchise. Brand new as in I watched all of it during COVID.
Mhm.
And before then, I had never really seen any episodes of Star Trek. I've been a huge Star Wars person, and obviously you can be both, and that doesn't matter because they're so absolutely different. But I just was so focused on Star Wars that I never really gave Star Trek a chance, to be honest. Like, I just didn't feel like watching it. I thought that my time had passed to enjoy it, which was completely wrong. There was actually a time there that I thought maybe I like Star Trek more than Star Wars. Just from watching it all back to back, I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
But I do like Star Wars more. But I do enjoy Star Trek immensely. I think they're both incredible in their own right. And I watched the original series, I watched The Next Generation, I watched Deep Space Nine, and I watched Voyager. So I have not consumed everything, but I've consumed a large majority of the main like chunks of Star Trek, I would say. And I haven't seen any of the movies. Except for like the most recent ones.
Oh,
but
that's fun though, because you're in for a roller coaster. Because some of those movies are really, really good. But
yes,
not all of them.
Yes, I know things. I know there's like a space whale or something. I know things about it from just being in the fandom and I have a lot of like really cool people that I follow on Twitter that are into Star Trek. So like I learn things by osmosis. But my favorite was Deep Space Nine. I'm obsessed with Deep Space Nine. It was so well done, so well made. So yeah, I feel like I know a lot because I've watched it so recently and it's all fresh to me, but I still don't know, as much as a lot of people get really deep into it. Like I can't talk about like specific stuff. I can't speak Klingon. Like I wish I could, but
yeah.
Oh, and Lower Decks too. Lower Decks is fucking phenomenal.
Oh, really?
It's
cool.
so funny and hilarious, and I've watched all that as well.
Oh, word. Yeah, Star Trek for me has always been in my life, but I've always been very casual as sort of like my engagement with it. And it's mostly just through people in my life. Like my dad he's still here. My dad is a huge Trekkie. And I mean, like he grew up with the original series. I know that he went to at least one Star Trek convention like I think it was before TNG came out, when it was still extremely niche and very small. Like he was one of those like early con goers.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I think that TNG is his favorite Star Trek. So it was always on TV growing up for me. Like it played in reruns all the time anyway. And if it was on, he would have it on television. So like it's always been in my orbit. It was never one that like I sort of latched onto independently, but you're always going to have like a friend or somebody in your life, I think, that like is into Star Trek enough to like keep you sort of up to date. So I've never watched TNG like from beginning to end, like sequentially, but I've probably seen the majority of episodes just like over the years, just through osmosis,
Yeah.
This episode in particular, actually, if I've seen it, I had no memory of it, which was sort of fun. Like this was very fresh for me. Yeah. But yeah, so I have a lot of love for Star Trek, even though I'm very, very, like I said, very casual about it. I did just start Deep Space Nine, as in like 3 episodes into it. I've never seen a single episode of that one.
What do you think so far? I just have to know.
Yeah, I already, so like I know that a big appeal of it is sort of like the longer term story arcs that it does over time. So there obviously isn't really much of that like 3 episodes in, but the sort of setup and the tone and like the sort of weird hodgepodge of characters, I think feels very different from the Star Trek that I'm used to from that era, in a way that I do think is really compelling. Like it doesn't, I don't want to say it's like darker, but like the sort of idea of more of like ragtag characters like thrown together in this really frustrating situation, I think feels like the opposite of what TNG kind of was in its setup.
Absolutely.
In a way that like, oh, I kind of get why this is immediately like really compelling in a very different way. So I'm excited to watch more of it, because that's the one that like I have been recommended so often. And the only reason that I haven't is because that's the one that I don't think my dad liked as much. But I think because he likes the more like optimistic, like spacefaring one and wasn't that interested in the sort of more darker, like longer term serialization type stuff that it was doing, which I like. So, you know.
Yes. There's definitely some levity in Deep Space Nine for sure. There's some.
Oh, of course.
There are some holodeck episodes that I think you need to eventually bring me back for, or somebody else for, because there is one in particular that's like the prize Deep Space Nine episode.
Okay.
That is a holodeck episode. That's really good. But Fistful of Datas is good. Fistful of Datas is a really good one.
I do have already on the slate, like you and another person had Deep Space Nine as their first choices for a start for just in general.
Yeah.
So I was like, I figure I'll get TNG and Deep Space Nine both in my sort of first slate of episodes. And like you also had TNG like as your sort of option. So I was like, you'll do TNG and that person will do Deep Space Nine. And then I'll have you back for another Deep Space Nine, like a little bit later on.
One that I'm just going to tell you because I think the one that I'm doing isn't the one I had said, but there's a baseball one that is like everyone's favorite holodeck episode.
I am fully aware of the baseball episode. That's absolutely on the list. I definitely want to do that at some point. Honestly, just doing a baseball episode of a science fiction show is already which is a fun idea anyway. So.
Absolutely.
Tonight, the 24th century begins.
Welcome to the Enterprise.
In a special world premiere movie, Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Ready for departure, sir. Engage.
78 years have passed since the days of the original USS Enterprise. Now a new Galaxy starship has been designed with a new team of highly skilled Federation explorers. Starfleet Captain Jean-Luc Picard, Commander Riker, Executive Officer, Chief Medical Officer Crusher, and her brilliant son, Wesley, Lieutenant Commander Data, an android, the telepathic Troy, Geordi, a man with unique vision, Security Officer Yar, and Klingon Officer Worf.
Shields and deflectors up, sir.
Go to yellow alert.
Their first mission, investigate a new star base on planet Deneb 4.
Thou art directed to return to thine own solar system immediately.
A hostile alien threatens the crew.
Now go back, or thou shalt most certainly die.
But they're determined to finish their mission.
Arm half photon torpedoes. Place them on ready status.
Hostile is now beginning to overtake us, sir.
Together, they stand trial before a merciless court.
You will now answer to the charge of being a grievously savage race.
Now, they have 24 hours to uncover the secrets of a strange world.
They're firing on far point, sir.
The classic legend begins an all-new adventure.
Let's see what's out there.
Star Trek: The Next Generation.
You know what? Good segue, because I wanted to.
Yeah, sorry.
This is super early. No. This is perfect. Because one of the things I want to touch on is like, I don't know, probably most people listening to this are listening to it because they like Star Trek or know Star Trek or whatever. But if somehow you're listening to this and you're a total newbie to like Star Trek or like futuristic sci-fi in general, welcome and thank you for listening to this podcast. But the concept of the holodeck, I think, is such an interesting invention for like television specifically. The holodeck being like this sort of like a way to do virtual reality holograms, which from a storytelling point of view is so genius because it sort of allows you to just like have a reason to do an episode in a completely different location, completely different characters that would not fit into a regular episode. So you can do like this episode does, where it's a completely different genre, something in the past, I know other holodeck episodes have like imaginary or fictional places or characters in it. And it's a way like, you know, Star Trek obviously does time travel and has done like dreams before, but it lets you like go into the well of dipping into different types of genres completely without having to do a time travel or dream sequence. It can be like in the universe of the show because you just walk onto the holodeck and suddenly you're in a Western and nobody's going to bat an eye at it. Of course they are, because that's the holodeck, you know.
One of the main reasons that I strayed away from Star Trek for so long was because I convinced myself that I was like, when I was younger, and everyone's going to like shit on me for this, but I was like, I don't like Star Trek because it's like, you're supposed to be in space, but all they do is go back in time. Like, why aren't they going to the future? Like, why aren't they doing space shit? Why are they always on Greece or like, you know, in the 50s in America? Why is there a planet that looks like America? That's not America. And I think mostly my annoyance with that was from the original series, because they literally would go to planets where, like, it would rehash things that happened in real life. But the holodeck, I think, was a good bridge for that. And now the holodeck is like my favorite thing. And the holodeck episodes are like some of my favorite episodes, because once you get familiar with the characters, you're like, oh, I want to see them in these weird situations and these weird costumes and stuff. And you realize, like, you know, you have all these people on the ship that want to get out of space because they're stuck in space their entire life and want to do something else. So, but first I was like, I hate this. I hate that they're always talking about history. What the hell?
I think that makes sense, because I remember feeling the same way, and I think maybe I got it from my dad a little bit, because I do think that maybe is sort of a feeling that like Star Trek older Star Trek fans had back in the day, because I feel like I remember my dad being like that, where it's just like, oh, it's a holodeck episode, yawn kind of thing. And I think I kind of inherited that too, because it's like, I don't want to see a fucking Sherlock Holmes episode. Like, I want to see them in space firing lasers and shit. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, I think that when it's something especially like long running like this, it's sort of like that's sort of the kind of the thesis of this podcast in a lot of ways, is like, there is such a huge benefit to taking the sort of long form show that you're doing and putting it into something completely different, whether it's a different genre or like changing up the structure or focusing on a different character. Like, there is a good reason to do that to keep your show fresh, or to sort of experiment and do new potentially groundbreaking things. Or like in this case, it is such like a breather episode. It's not anything like, they're not pushing any boundaries with this episode. No. It is just like, what if Star Trek characters are in a Western? That already is such a rich concept that's so fun that like, that's all you need. Like, it's fun.
Yeah. And they've done it before. There was an OST episode where they went, like, Kirk and everybody went, I don't think it was holodeck. I think it was a planet, but it might have been a holodeck, because they didn't really do holodeck stuff in the original series. It was just like going to different planets, and there was like a Western planet.
Yeah, that makes well. That one of the things when I was sort of doing some research on this, I was like, when did the holodecks start? And it really officially started in TNG. There's like a first season episode called The Big Goodbye. That's their noir episode, which I would like to do on this podcast at some point, because noir episodes are always fun. And that was technically the first holodeck episode, like holodeck focused episode, but there was a episode of Star Trek the Animated Series that really is technically the first time there was a holodeck. It was an episode called The Practical Joker, where they had the rec room, and just like the holodeck, it was like a VR room that had malfunctioning holograms, like just like
cool.
a holodeck episode. So yeah. So that's kind of where it started. But yeah, TNG is pretty much the first time there was a holodeck. So I don't think, it sounds like there was never any kind of holodeck stuff in the original series at all.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I agree with you. This was a really genius move when doing this show to sort of integrate that and let like a holodeck malfunction be its own subgenre of Star Trek, essentially.
Yeah. It almost malfunctions in every other holodeck episode. Like, there's something, they get trapped in it, somebody gets possessed, like something happens, a weird ghost comes out, like, you know, just all this bullshit, which is great.
I mean, otherwise there's no stakes, right? It's just like, you know, what if you played a video game and the video game was going to kill you?
If you die in the game, you die in real life.
Oh no.
Data's memory malfunction turns a Wild West fantasy into a real live shootout.
My God, you've been shot!
Now, with only primitive defenses, can Worf stop a gang of murderous outlaws?
Where have they taken my son?
And with no escape, can he survive a violent showdown?
There's a gunfighter out there who has the speed and accuracy of an android.
On Star Trek, The Next Generation.
So this episode in particular, there's some fun background to it. It was pitched by writer Robert Hewitt Wolfe. It was actually, this was his first contribution to Star Trek. He had two stories when he first came on that he pitched. One was a Western episode that became this one. The other one was actually a time travel story that ended up becoming the past tense two-parter in Deep Space Nine, apparently.
Okay.
Yeah, which I have not seen those episodes, obviously, because I haven't gotten to them yet, but I'm excited to get to them. But yeah, so this is a Western episode. What do you like? What are your feelings on like Westerns in general? I feel like it's a weird question, but like, you like Westerns? You care about them? Hate them? What do you feel about?
I don't
Westerns?
mind them. Well, I mean, because of my interest in Star Wars, I have familiarity with Westerns because a lot of Star Wars came from Western films, which came from Eastern films. And so there's just so much copying and referencing. And as you know, when I did like my research project in college on Star Wars, I researched a lot of the Akira Kurosawa movies that Star Wars referenced. And so I read, I watched A Fistful of Dollars. So I got that reference immediately.
Nice.
And what else? The Magnificent Seven, all of those films. And I prefer the very original Akira Kurosawa films because I enjoy just in general Eastern culture more and Japanese film more. And I like the idea of a samurai more than a cowboy. Not really big on cowboys, but I think it's cool. I think it's pretty cool. And I liked all the different... I mean, obviously, I liked all the characters that Brent Spiner plays in all of this because they're just phenomenal. I don't have any real, like, love for Westerns. I've just seen them, so I get it. I get the nods to everything. And for me, this was more about the characters because at this point, I've become so imbibed with the characters that it's just fun. Like a sheriff is such a perfect character for Worf to play. Like a Klingon warrior, especially Worf specifically, who's so obsessed with rules. Like, once he realizes what a sheriff does, he's like, holy shit, this is like the coolest thing ever, which is so dorky. And that's like one of the biggest appeals of Worf is that he's so dwarfy. Like, the guy drinks prune juice, for God's sake. Like, he's the nerdiest character ever, and yet he's like supposed to be this like crazy warrior. So
yeah. Oh, I love it. I agree with you. I think like on pretty much all of those points. Like I'm glad that I have you on for this one because I don't really have like, I feel like you have even more of an attachment to Westerns than I do. And that's not even like that much. So like, which because I kind of agree with you that I think the strength of this episode is like, it has the trappings of Westerns, but I was really pleasantly surprised by how much of this was character driven. Like there's so much of it. Like it wasn't just random, the people that they threw into it. Like Worf, it's not like he has a little bit of a character arc, but also like every kind of plot point is sort of centered on like Worf having to sort of like confront something in this Western world that kind of contradicts what he knows of the world or believes of the world, and has to sort of change the way that he operates like internally and externally. And I found that so interesting because I do think the misconception that I probably had about holodeck episodes that you probably also had as a kid is sort of like, oh, they're just going to like do this thing back in time and it's going to be boring because it's just going to be like I'm watching an old Western movie. Yeah. Like, I don't want to watch this, but like, no, there is something really integral about having these particular characters in this setting.
It was surprising to see Deanna Troi so obsessed with it. That was a nice little caveat, I felt like, because obviously her father is human, so he's familiar with Westerns. The ancient West, I thought, was just a really fun term. Like,
I love
it's just weird to think of it like that. But how fixated she was on like the mysterious stranger character just was kind of cool for her because she, because of her, I feel like the fact that she's a counselor and the fact that they kind of like make great lengths, especially in early TNG, to like feminize her, like with those stupid skirts and dresses she had to wear in the first few episodes. Like, it's cool that they're now playing into her like just being a badass and she wants to play a dude, like, and have a gun and smoke a cigar, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I love her in this. Marina Sirtis is so clearly like having a blast too.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm gonna put on the most over-the-top Western accent, and it works.
Yes.
Like, it's all good.
Did you know, you might have seen this, but apparently Worf, so I'm blanking on his real name.
Michael Dorn?
Yes. So apparently Michael Dorn told her, like, she was like making like smoke rings with her cigar, and he was like, "Don't do that. You can't be cooler than me in this episode."
Oh my God. That's
Which
so
was
good.
hilarious. Like, she was really going all out, and he's like, stop it, you're way too cool.
And it's like, yeah, correct.
That's what I'm supposed to be. Shut up. You're a dork.
Oh, man.
Get over yourself.
Yeah. You kind of get some of that in that episode, like when she first is showing up, and he's just like, what are you doing? Calm down. Like, you're playing this a little too hard.
Absolutely. It was great.
Yeah. I do think, like, just a little bit more about like the background of this. I think the timing is sort of interesting because I was just sort of like looking into it and I never really thought about it, but like Westerns were huge in America in like the 50s through, I guess, like roughly the 70s, maybe even more like late 60s. And then they sort of like petered out and would just be sort of sporadic, right? Like they were just gigantic for a time and then were sort of replaced by other genres. And then there was like sort of this mild resurgence of Westerns in like around the time of this episode, like from like around 90 to 94, like for a very short time. Like there's things like Unforgiven and Dances with Wolves like come out and are huge and win a bunch of awards. Tombstone comes out shortly after this episode and it's a gigantic hit. And there's even like, you know, like Back to the Future Part 3 and like 5 Goes West, like stuff like like, hey, what's a good sequel to An American Tale, which is a musical about Jewish immigrants? Obviously, you make the mouse go to the West for some reason. Okay.
Make the mouse go to the West. That should have been the name of that movie.
Make the mouse go to the West. Yeah. It's just, it's sort of funny that like the genre sort of like exploded for a really short time again. And then I feel like it sort of petered out like, and it's continued that in that way where like occasionally you hear of like a good Western come out like every couple of years.
Yeah. Even recently, like there have been some like True Grit, that's been a while now, but No Country for Old Men, like there's like a big collection of them all of a sudden.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting that it like kind of comes in waves, I guess. And I don't really know what like the sort of cultural reason for that is. But it's just sort of interesting to see the point in time that this episode comes out. Like it seems like people are sort of rediscovering or refalling in love with like sort of classic Westerns as a genre. So it's like, well, of course we're going to do a Star Trek episode in the Old West too. It's, you know, I'm surprised that they hadn't done it earlier than season 6, actually.
Yeah, that's what everybody's doing.
Yeah. So you sort of referenced this, but the title of the episode is an homage to the 1964 Sergio Leone film A Fistful of Dollars, which is a Clint Eastwood film. And that's kind of technically considered the first spaghetti Western, which is like, this is a whole rabbit hole that probably is not worth going into in this podcast. But like spaghetti Westerns are called that because they were like sort of produced, they were produced like on a lower budget in Italy by Italian filmmakers. And that the original title for this episode was another Eastwood Leone spaghetti Western joint, which is The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. So they were going to title the episode The Good, the Bad, and the Klingon.
I like A Fistful of Data's better.
It sort of suits the episode better too, given everything that happens. But both are good ideas. So yeah, so there's definitely some like aesthetic parallels to 60s spaghetti Westerns. I think those are really low budget. This episode, because it's on television, is low budget, shot on a backlot and a couple of sets. So like all of that makes sense. But the plot itself is more of an homage to the 1954 film Rio Bravo, which was like a John Wayne, Dean Martin movie directed by Howard Hanks. That's sort of pre-spaghetti Western, more of a traditional Western story, which is, I think, is why the story in this episode is like super basic, super straightforward, but in a way that I think is good because it gives the characters a lot of room to breathe and have fun within it. So A fun thing about this episode too is that it's directed by Patrick Stewart.
Yeah.
The third episode he directed, so I have a quote from him that's really fun. He said, there have been rumors, I wish I could do like a good Patrick Stewart impression. So just imagine that he's like saying these words. There had been rumors around the production offices for some months that there was a Western episode coming up. And of course, every director was eager to get a hold of it because everyone feels like they have at least one Western in them, which is interesting, I guess.
That's adorable.
Originally, there was another director assigned to this episode, but then there was a switch for whatever reason, I guess just for scheduling stuff. And so Stewart was like, ooh, now I could do it.
Oh my gosh.
He says, there was nothing I have done in my career anywhere that could match the amazing thrill of directing a Western.
Aww. Well, you probably have this too, but I remember him, or I think I also saw Brent Spiner say this in something, that they shot this all like in one day, and they had to deal with the lighting, like the fact that they wanted all the set pieces to be ready the night before so that they had enough time and sunlight to do the rest of the episode. Which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. And I think it's probably because they were using, like, I think it was the Universal backlot, I think, or maybe it was some other.
I mean, that's what all Westerns are on, right? Like, they all
exactly
look like you could just like take a left and you'd be in the middle of like a building.
Right. I think that there's also issues with like heat and everything too, because it was so hot, and they're probably, normally filming like their stuff indoors on like their whatever sets they're normally doing. So like to do outdoor stuff and all the heavy makeup and heavy Western clothes they have to do is probably not fun.
No. Amazing.
Yeah. So if you want more Patrick Stewart being a total nerd, producer Jerry Taylor has a quote where she says, Patrick approached this with such zealousness. He went out and rented 2 classic Westerns every night. The next morning he'd come in and tell us what great ideas he'd had. And we could always just tell just what he'd watched. For example, a shot where Alexander looks out of the bottom of the saloon doors was an homage to a similar scene in the Western film Shane. I love it. I love how much Patrick Stewart loves Star Trek and loves being on Star Trek.
He's like the daddy of Star Trek. Like, he's just so sweet and perfect. And also the intro to this episode when he's playing the flute and getting so annoyed by everybody is just
God.
one of my favorite little moments. And yeah,
it's so funny.
Him playing the flute is the best. Yeah.
It's like this like space flute thing that can like change to different instruments, I guess. Because he's like clarinet. Oh, now change it to oboe or whatever.
Well, I think the instrument stays the same. The instrument's actually a homage to an episode in the 5th season, The Inner Light, which is one of my favorite episodes. He like gets that flute from somebody very important. And it's cool because they continue to reference, like, it's really cool because they continue to reference the flute and him playing the flute, and it's like a really important moment. Like, it's a really special thing for him, and so I think it's really sweet that he's still practicing the flute.
Yeah, and here I am like making fun of it like a complete asshole.
No.
No,
I'm not trying to be
though.
like, actually, it's really significant to
I'm glad
life and.
I'm glad that you're here for that because that's, I mean, like I said, I've there's definitely episodes that I've missed or have no memory of or have not, and I have not watched this sequentially. So I'm glad to have that context for it because I didn't know that otherwise. I thought it was just like a fun, silly Jean-Luc Picard thing. Like, of course he plays a weird little flute.
Well, it still is though. It's just dumb in general that they all play musical instruments. Like, all of them have like an instrument, and they're like. You know what I mean? Like, it's
they're
hilarious.
So cultured.
Yeah, I know. Like, all these white people playing the trombone and like the violin.
I guess that's like the utopian ideal, right? It's sort of like everybody actually has like free time and like mental space to be able to have time and energy to learn an instrument. Like, wow, I wish that was like real life.
Super, super ridiculous. So it is dumb. As important as the flute is, it's still dumb.
Yeah, it's silly and cute. I love it.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, he's trying so hard. Cool. Well, let's go ahead and dive into just we're already kind of talking about it anyway. So let's go ahead and start talking about this episode in particular. if you'd like to watch Star Trek The Next Generation along with us, it's available on a few places. I know it's available on Netflix. It's probably also on Paramount Plus.
That's what I watch it on.
Actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So it's super easy to find it. There's really good Blu-ray sets that are remastered. And I think it's never not been playing in reruns. I think also remastered. So like this is one of those shows it's very hard to miss if you want to watch it. So you can find it somewhere for sure. The synopsis per IMDb for this episode, A Fistful of Datas, is while the crew is experiencing some much needed downtime, Worf and his son go on an Old West excursion in the holodeck, where they meet several versions of Data serving as the bad guy after an experiment in engineering goes wrong. That was such a long sentence.
I'm sorry we already hopped into some other parts.
Oh, no, you're fine.
Okay.
Structure doesn't matter.
I got excited.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. That's a good sign. The original air date for this episode is November 2nd, 1992. I mentioned these writers before, but the story by credit is to Robert Hewitt Wolfe. In addition to the DS9 episodes that I mentioned and writing a bunch of episodes on that, he also developed the show's Andromeda, which is like I think that was also created by Gene Roddenberry. He also developed the Dresden Files and wrote on the 4400, which features a lot of TNG writers on it, actually. The teleplay was by Wolfe himself and also Brannon Braga, who is a well-known Star Trek guy. He's written a ton of episodes. He also became a producer on TNG and Voyager. He was a showrunner on Enterprise, I think, for the first 3 seasons. And he co-wrote Star Trek Generations and First Contact. And oddly enough, he's also been like recently an executive producer on The Orville, which is like the Star Trek-inspired Seth MacFarlane show.
Yeah.
Weirdly. Have you watched any of that? I've never seen it.
I have not, and I honestly I'm not a big fan of Seth MacFarlane. I don't know if I would like it. I don't know. I don't know.
I've heard a lot of mixed things about it because apparently like he pitched it as like a parody, but people are like, that's what he did to get it like on the network, but it basically is just like him doing his own 90s Star Trek show. Like it's very much like inspired by like the TNG kind of era. And I think is meant to be similar storylines and pacing. And like, it's still like obviously has a more comedic bent because it's technically supposed to be a comedy, but like for the most part, it's just a straightforward episodic, like dealing with like philosophy and high concept science fiction stuff on it, apparently.
Okay.
I don't know. I've never seen it. That's just what other people have said. I've also heard negative things about it too. So who knows? Seth MacFarlane's a weird figure. So,
yes.
You know, like I said, this episode was directed by Patrick Stewart.
Daddy.
Daddy. Star Trek Daddy. So what happens in this episode? So we talked about it a little bit, but I do want to spotlight the whole intro to this episode. The basis of this is sort of like everybody is on a break because there's this sort of 2-day like waiting period while they rendezvous with some other supply ship. It doesn't matter. Basically, the whole point is that everybody's got free time. Nothing's going on. Picard's doing his little space flute clarinet thing, but he's constantly interrupted by everybody. One of those interruptions is Crusher's request for him to be in her play called Something for Breakfast.
The name is so dumb. It's so dumb.
I think it feels like they're trying to go for like a Pinter type of vibe, I guess.
Oh, I see.
I guess, you know, but it also is like, that sounds like something that Crusher would write. And I feel like it's probably awful. I don't know why.
I feel like it probably is too.
I just can't see her writing a play that's any good and not just like super pretentious.
Yeah.
You know,
she's like trying to reference every single playwright ever in one script, and they just get confused, and she keeps changing it as they're like reading it. And that's probably why Riker just starts reading. Like once the glitch happens and he starts like reading Data's poetry, he doesn't even recognize that it's different because it's just she's changed it so much.
Yeah. I'm not gonna call back to this later on anyway, so we can talk about it now. The whole scene when they do like quickly like show some of the rehearsal that she's having for her play, like it seems miserable. Like nobody seems happy. She's upset with her actors, which is just like, you're using these people's fucking 2-day break to rehearse this shitty show that you wrote for your own ego. Nobody seems to be enjoying it, and you're like hassling them about it, like, oh, everyone start from Act 2. Like, come on. Like,
yeah. Awful.
I don't know why I'm ragging on her so much. It's just like the vibe just seems so bad from that.
I love Beverly, but God, no. It's not a good idea at all.
Yeah, I also love that she's like telling Jean-Luc Picard, who is played by Patrick Stewart, that he's not much of an actor.
I love that line. It's so good.
Yeah. Or I guess Patrick Stewart himself.
Yeah, he says
that.
I really don't have the time it would take to learn a part. And anyway, I'm not much of an actor.
But he says it so coyly, like you could tell, like, I know I'm a good actor. I do this.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like I perform Shakespeare all the damn time or something, like in real life.
Yeah, which is great because then he gets to be disappointed when she's like, oh, no, of course you're not getting a big role.
That's no problem.
Oh?
Well, you wouldn't be playing one of the leads.
Oh.
It's a very small part, only 2 lines.
Really?
It's the role of the butler.
Well, I'll think about it and let you know.
You're a tree.
Okay. It's like, I didn't want to act anyway, whatever.
Good, I can go play my flute.
Yeah, I'm happy for him that he's not at her awful rehearsal.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, none of that like has any impact on the episode.
No.
That's just like a fun little subplot. One of 2 important interruptions that Picard gets is that Geordi is coming and requesting to basically like interface data with the engineering computers so he can like essentially be like a cloud backup in case there's a computer failure.
Yeah.
We're working on a new interface that would allow data to act as an emergency backup in the event of a ship-wide systems failure.
In theory, my neural network should be able to sustain key systems until primary control is restored.
Whatever, technobabble doesn't matter. The important part is Data's brain is like tangled up with the Enterprise computer right now. And that is obviously nothing good could ever come from that clearly. So we'll see how that happens. The other important thing is that Worf is like basically begging Picard to get as much extra work as possible. And Picard's like, dude, take a break. What are you doing?
Is there some reason why you're trying to give yourself more work?
No, sir. I simply wish to use the extra time.
Enjoy yourself. You have the free time. Use it.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
The reason that Worf is trying to get as much extra work as possible is because he doesn't want to do this thing that
he's a bad father.
Because he's a bad dad. He doesn't want to spend quality time with his son.
Ever.
And he's trying to get out of it. He's not able to get out of it, so he's forced to reluctantly participate in a holodeck adventure that Alexander has written.
Where are we?
Deadwood, 19th century Earth. The ancient West.
What is our function here?
You're the sheriff, and I'm the deputy.
And the story of this holodeck is to like capture Eli Hollander, who they call like the Butcher of Bozeman. I don't know if he's like a real guy from history or fictional or not. Like, doesn't really matter. It's just a dude that they have to capture as law enforcement.
Yeah.
That's our setup for this episode. Right off the bat, I love Worf in all of this, not just because of like how much he doesn't want to do this, but also the face that he has when Alexander puts the hat on him and then they play the little Western musical like harmonica motif right before the credits.
Saddle up, Father.
It's honestly like, yeah. Okay, so speaking of the, not to go on another random tangent, but speaking of holodeck episodes with Worf in them, have you seen the Robin Hood episode?
No, I have not seen that.
Oh my gosh. So I think there's just a whole thing of putting Worf in ridiculous costumes because obviously it's contrast and it's funny. But he wears like a little like I don't know which Robin Hood character it is. I'm sorry, but he's like I am not a merry man, and the way he says it is so freaking funny. But he just like looks at the camera and goes,
I am not a merry man.
And so that reminds me of that because like they're always putting him into the most ridiculous costume, the most, you know, this Klingon warrior again, Like, and Alexander is freaking adorable, and his weird little hair that looks just like his dad's, and his little costume. But you're right. Now I'm thinking more of like all those prosthetics and the heat had to have been absolutely awful.
Yeah.
Sweating into their eyeballs, like.
I commend all of these actors on these Star Trek shows because they're doing these hella long ass seasons of television, so many episodes that with makeup that I'm sure took like 4 to 6 hours to put on, and then 4 to 6 hours to take off, like that. I just can't like, and the fact that they still put on like really good performances and are still like doing their jobs extremely well and seem to like somehow enjoy all of it. Like it's I mean, I commend them so much, especially in episodes like this. Like, y'all are good.
It's
y'all are
great.
good.
Y'all look good. Y'all great. Y'all look good.
Y'all great.
Y'all being
y'all
good.
good.
Yes. It's a good little intro to that little like Western music and then moving over into the, to our cute little Western town.
I love the score in this episode in general. I think they do a really good job of fusing like your sort of typical Western harmonica motifs, like with the more like orchestral score that Star Trek normally has.
Absolutely.
Especially like the sort of standoff sequence at the end of the episode. Like it's all really well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It feels like, even though we know it's Star Trek, it feels like it feels like a Western. If you weren't like paying attention, you might think somebody's watching a Western.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of like performances, again, Brent Spiner in this is just. Data used to terrify me as a child, and he's like the scariest character. Like, Brent Spiner is so good at making him so human and yet also not, that it is this terrifying juxtaposition that whenever he plays a character that is very animated, it is terrifying. It is so scary when Data's face becomes more expressive. It freaks me the fuck out.
Oh, I get that though. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
And not to mention that his eyes are yellow. And so, when he's playing like Hollander and he like comes out in the dark and his creepy little eyes, like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I used to be afraid of Data as a child. Like, that is another reason that I wouldn't watch Star Trek, because every time I would see it on TV, he was always evil. Like, Data always finds a way to be bad somehow. It's not his fault, because he's like the sweetest, like one of the most like purest of heart, incredible characters that have been made in TV history. And yet he is almost every other episode, something's wrong with him and he's evil and he's trying to kill people.
Yeah, it's like it's just like they recognize that Brent Spiner is just like really good at acting, so it's like we got to do more than just have him be emotionless all the time and have that be a shtick. So find new ways to make him extremely emotional.
Absolutely,
it's smart. It makes sense, and it's always and it's just compelling to have your robot like go bad. Like it makes sense. But yeah, I agree with you. I think even once you're familiar with it, you sort of get comfortable with the performance that Spiner puts on and the way that Data, does and doesn't emote or is like low key emotes. So then when it is sort of heightened, even if it's just heightened a little bit, if he's basically emoting like a regular person, that already is sort of off-putting just because you're so not used to seeing that particular guy in the makeup that he has on doing that,
Yeah, even though we see it every other episode, it's still scary.
Sure.
There are so many episodes where he's like smiling or laughing weird, and I'm like, every single time you do this, it makes me want to I'm going to have a nightmare. Like, I love when you're like this, but it still terrifies me. And this, I don't know, the fact that he has like the shiny skin and the yellow eyes just makes it all the more eerie. I love in this one too, that like there's a slow transition to him. Like you see it out of the holodeck, like him becoming like the accent and all that stuff. That was really fun.
Yeah.
He picks up Spot and he's like,
"Vamoose, you little varmint."
Yeah.
So cute.
It's so good. That whole bit with Spot is cute because it's just like, that's how cats act.
Oh my God. I literally had to rewind it and show Tommy that because as you know, we have a new kitten and my older cat, we're trying to feed them next to each other recently. And she looks at her food in disgust and then looks at the other cat's food and then looks at us like, why the hell are you feeding me this when you're giving this other cat this amazing thing? And it's so real. And now all the time, because now my new cat is trying to jump up out of the baby gate, I'm always there's another line that Data says in another episode with Spot where he goes, Spot keeps jumping up onto the table and he puts him down on the floor and he goes, sorry, Spot's a girl. I forgot. They changed gender like 5 times.
Oh,
and
okay.
like literally like he's a he one time and then he's pregnant and it's like, oh, I guess it's a
die
girl
and then
now.
there's a new
Yeah.
one?
I have no idea. Never really explained. But like he's on the floor and he goes,
this is down. Down is good. This is up.
Up is no.
up is bad. Up is no. And I always now I keep doing that to my cat. I'm like, up is no. Up is no.
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny. That's
Yeah.
so funny. And just the way that Spot's like hopping up on the keyboard when he's trying to work, and it's just like, get off.
Yeah. Perfect.
Like,
yeah.
very real. So I guess I'll recap a little more of the plot, I guess, for anyone who hasn't seen this episode or hasn't seen it in a long time, where the sort of stuff sort of turns and how stuff gets crazy and the holodeck, malfunctions like it's inevitably going to do. There's a couple of important bits sort of leading up to that. For one, they do establish that like Worf as a Klingon could like kick everybody's ass really easily. So they have to specifically like up it to hard mode for it so he can actually play the scenario, which I love. I think that's great. The other fun factor that we established when they first enter the holodeck is that Deanna Troi shows up, like you mentioned, and she's playing this mysterious stranger named Durango.
I suggest you find a new line of work.
I asked Counselor Troy to join us. She loves Western stories.
They're able to like work together to capture this Eli guy pretty easily. But the next point in the story is that they learn that Eli's father, Frank, is a sly and powerful man. And so they're going to have to like sort of work together to keep Eli locked up until the U.S. Marshal arrives in their story. I love when Worf is like fighting and he has that like moment of pure joy.
Yes.
I'm beginning to see the appeal of this program.
I love it.
It's great.
He's such a dork.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that I think is sort of interesting that I don't know if this is a thing that's been like talked about with like holodeck stuff in general, but I think there's something really interesting to like the fact that the holodeck, I guess it's a form of wish fulfillment essentially, but the fact that like these characters can sort of be in these roles during a time when like they otherwise couldn't have. That sounds so stupid because obviously they're in the 24th century. I'm talking like the fact that like Worf looks like he does. He looks like a Klingon, and the characters in the holodeck even remark like that, like, was your mama an armadillo? Like they have that exchange. So like he obviously looks like that in the context of the holodeck, and his deputy is a literal child, but like the world of the holodeck still has to operate like without any like prejudices essentially.
Yes.
Like they can't be freaking out that he's an alien. Nobody bats an eye that the mysterious stranger is a woman / alien as well, Like I think that that's a really kind of cool aspect of the holodeck that you can sort of like play both sides of it, like being part of these like times that were pretty not great to anyone who didn't look like a white guy, and you could still sort of play along with it without having to like deal with that side of it. Like I think that's really interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's something that I can't think off the top of my head, but that's definitely something that is almost universally kind of, there are breadcrumbs of it throughout other holodeck episodes. I'm thinking mostly to Voyager, where there's like this whole village that Janeway like goes to and visits and things. And another interesting thing about that, which doesn't really come into play here, is that there's this concept, especially in DS9, that the holodeck continues to happen while you're not on it.
Oh.
And so that's kind of interesting. That is obviously not the concept here, but there's like a whole swath of holodeck episodes where like the life and the thing that is happening and the story continues to happen, and you have to revisit it. And I guess that's probably a setting. Like there must be like a data bank of like recurring, just like one shot holodeck things that you go into, and then there's like other ones that are like, this continues to progress, and maybe that's like an advancement in technology, because I think you see it more in DS9 and Voyager than you do in TNG. I think there definitely are some in TNG where it's like a progression, but for the most part it's like opening up a storybook and jumping into the pages and then jumping back out, but then like you said, altering it enough to where like it's not completely like ripped out of time, which is really important.
Yeah, because it gives them more room to play around in it, you know. And in a case like this, it's sort of like it kind of justifies the show doing a pastiche of like the movie genre more so than like the actual real world Old West.
Mm-hmm.
So, which, you know, TV is going to do because it's TV, but then it kind of is justified because, yeah, these characters are going to want to play the fun, heightened version that like the people in the 20th century watched on their movies, you know, like that's what they're going to want to be engaged with more in their sort of virtual reality game rather than like literally being a part of history, you know?
Yeah. It also makes sense because history is literally ancient at this point. So like they have no concept of what it was truly like. They literally just have what has been left to them. And so they can only play these heightened characters because they don't know. It would be very unfathomable at this point. Like as much as all the information as they have, I'm sure they can like heighten the realism. But for them, like, it's more of the idea of it, right? It's like for us, the only thing we really have in this time frame is like the cavemen or like dinosaurs, and the only like the only depictions of dinosaurs we have for the most part are completely fictional. Like, we have, you know, they're mostly inaccurate. And so that's kind of what we have.
Yeah, it's no, that's such a good point because it's like if I were to do some sort of like virtual reality dinosaur thing, I would rather them look like Jurassic Park dinosaurs than what dinosaurs really look like, because Jurassic Park dinosaurs are what I'm just more familiar with for media, and it's just like I think they look cooler that way, but it's like it's not going to be historically accurate because we still are constantly learning what those things actually are.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you're just trying to have fun, like who cares? Like, that's all they're doing. They're just in a visual novel, basically.
You're on vacation. You don't want to be like, you don't want to go into like a saloon as Worf and everyone just scream and be like, alien, and then jump out of the window. Like, what's the point of that?
Right. Yeah. It's so fun. Like, it's funny because like all of that is obvious, and it's like the nature of television like makes it so you just would accept it anyway. But it's sort of fun to think about the ingenuity of like what this is doing both in universe and like the way that it operates on TV. Like the holodeck in general, I think is just so fascinating.
I love it. It's so cool. I love that it can be like a sports arena and yet also like you can read your like romance novels and be part of your favorite romance novel, or like, or as they reference, like, you know, at the beginning of this episode, they reference, there's like the whorehouse, and Worf is like, where did that come from? Like, how do you know about that? And Alexander's like, oh, Lieutenant Barclay helped me write this.
I must have a little talk with Mr. Barclay.
And Barclay is notorious for like using the holodeck for his own fantasies, so
of course
that's where that came from. And then of course when you get farther in DS9, Quark literally just has like porno in his holodeck. So
why wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
Yeah, you have to have everything, right? Like there's something for everyone, like literally. And it's cool that, you know, the kids get to like revisit or reenact things with this like sense of frivolity, but there's also danger, like especially when things start to take a turn for the worse and Worf gets shot. It's like, oh shit,
right,
things are getting serious now.
Well, Crusher, why you gotta do a play when you can just be in the holodeck enacting stuff just like in a play, except cooler and better?
Yeah, you could like go to like Shakespearean England and be an actor.
Yeah.
And have Shakespeare direct you, like, specifically. And you know it'd be crazy because we don't have much information about that. So it would be like this, it'd be like Shakespeare in Love. Like, she could just be in Shakespeare in Love.
Right.
If she wanted to be. And have an affair with Shakespeare.
She would do it. She absolutely would do that.
Oh, yeah. I feel like it's more of a Janeway thing, but it's also still a Crusher thing. Sure. She has weird romance partners, too, so.
Was one of them like a ghost or something?
Oh, yeah. It was a weird... That's a whole thing that she does. She has... Yeah.
Ghost sex.
You should watch that one. Yeah.
Yeah, but as you mentioned, things do go haywire as they do, and the reason they go haywire is because when Data's brain stuff is all hooked up into the Enterprise. There's like an energy surge, of course, which causes all the systems to act strangely. There's weird stuff like logs are being swapped out for Data's poetry.
Is your taxonomic nomenclature an endothermic quadruped? Carnivorous by nature?
Hold it. Will, what are you reading?
The lines, why?
That's not the right dialogue. Your visual, olfactory, and auditory senses contribute
I
to
recognize it. This is Data's poetry.
The play's gone. I just keep getting more poetry.
Also, and there's like cat food in the replicators instead of regular food. And also Data himself is taking up these stereotypical Wild West like mannerisms and vernacular. Like,
I reckon the process should take less than 2 hours.
What did you say?
I said the process should take less than 2 hours.
No, you said, I reckon.
According to my memory logs, I did not use those words. Y'all must be mistaken.
Spinning his phaser into his holster like you'd spin a gun into it. Fun stuff like that.
I love it.
Yeah. It's super fun. Also, I don't know where else I would mention this, but Geordi in this episode has like beard scruff, and it's even like commented on that he's growing a beard.
It's actually kind of a joke too, because apparently he wanted a beard, or he had to ask like the producers for him to have a beard because he wanted one for his wedding, like in real life. So they like gave him a beard for a little while, and then apparently everyone like riffed on him because of it. And they always make jokes about people with beards, probably because Riker like was babyface for so long, and then he became like the bearded guy.
Yeah,
I mean he's like a million times hotter with a beard, so.
Well, yes.
It only makes sense that everyone else would be like, well, maybe I should get a beard too.
That's such a good point. Data being like, what if or Brent Spiner's like, what if Data grafted, android fibers onto his face? Like, you want Data to grow a beard? Like,
or just stole someone's pubic hair in the middle of the night. Like,
oh, God. You took that to such a worse place.
But he would do something weird and be all innocent about it and be like, I just wanted to replicate, reality, and I couldn't, the replicator won't let me produce pubic hair or something. I don't know. Because no one eats it.
Just no one eats it.
Well, because I'm assuming, I don't know this, but like the replicator only ever seems to produce food. But that could be completely wrong, and someone's going to be like, actually, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But like, I'm sure that you cannot document a moment when the replicator gave someone pubic hair. That I am pretty sure has never happened.
Yeah. Maybe in fan fiction.
Oh God.
Like definitely in someone's fan
somewhere.
Fiction.
Yes. Absolutely.
Somewhere. Speaking of body hair, I did know, one of my notes is that when the other thing that happens in this episode that's wild is that when this like weird power surge happens that like integrates Data's mind circuits into the computer, it also basically like puts like a versions of him into the holodeck, so characters in the holodeck like start all looking like Data. So Brent Spiner gets to play a bunch of characters. One of those characters, I think it's Eli. He has his like sleeves rolled up, and when you see the close up of him playing cards, Brent Spiner has so much fucking arm hair, and I don't know. Yeah, and maybe it's just like because he has makeup on his arms too, so I think that makes it like probably like more clear because the makeup is going to be clumping on his hair. But even still, I was like, I don't know why it feels so weird that like to see Data, a holodeck interpretation of Data, granted, so like it's fine, you can explain it away, but it's still so weird to like see Data with just a shit ton of arm hair.
That is fascinating. It makes me wonder too. He must have a shit ton of chest hair, but what's funny is when he plays the woman at the end, his like chest is sticking out, and it's completely naked.
Oh, it's clearly like I think that they must have put like a prosthetic on him for that.
Oh, okay.
Probably
because I'm like, they
I could
must
be
have
wrong.
shaved his beard, his like chest hair, but then left all of his arm hair, which would be very unfortunate.
Yeah. I think that they probably put a prosthetic like bust on him for that one scene.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Because otherwise, that would be really annoying.
Yeah, Brent Spiner said that was his favorite character to play and the easiest for him to get into.
Oh my God,
Annie
the easiest part
at the end. Yes.
That is hilarious.
You're as handy with a shooting iron. as you are with a woman's heart.
Computer, in program.
You could just tell he was so excited, like flying down those steps. He's like, oh my God, this is my favorite part. Like he clearly had so much fun. Like that's one of the joys of watching Star Trek is the actors always seem to have, at least it seems, I'm sure there were issues, as all things have issues, but for the most part, they always seem to have so much fun, especially with the holodeck episodes, because they get to do something different.
Yeah.
Because from what I know, this cast was very close, and they goofed off all the time, to the point where, like, directors would get really pissed at them because they would just, like, be doing stupid shit all the time. So, like, when they actually got to be dumb on camera, I feel like they really probably were so excited to do it.
Sure. Well, yeah, I mean, that's another good reason for episodes like this, because it's sort of like, it probably is sort of, even when they're not super, even when they maybe are challenging to film, they're probably like kind of a pressure valve release.
Yeah.
Like where it's sort of like the silly behind the scenes stuff that you do, you can also do it on screen. Like, you know, like it's got to help keeping things from feeling stale after a while. And it's like, yeah, Data can just, or Brent Spiner can just goof off and play these bizarre, exaggerated characters, and like it all makes sense.
It's like they kind of get to be part of their own character's fan fiction in some way, which is so weird. It's like they're cosplaying their own characters like at a convention. You know, like when people like cosplay their characters at a convention and then they like you know, they do stupid skits and stuff, and that wouldn't, you know, or take funny pictures that don't make sense. Like this is the exact, like it's like an upcharge of that. Like the actors are still playing the same characters, but yeah,
I love it. It's so fun. And even as things like, even as the stakes ramp up, like it's still always really fun. Like the sort of what becomes like the actual conflict of the episode is that once these sort of like data clones are in the holodeck, the safeties are all off. All the safety protocols are off. They can't end the program. So Eli's father, Frank, kidnaps Alexander to like basically trade for his son Eli. Worf tries to get him back. He gets into a gunfight and is wounded.
My God, you've been shot! Computer end program. Try to Captain Picard. Try to security.
There's another character in the program. Hollins's father. And he looks like Commander Data.
Data?
But it is not Data. I cannot explain. I believe he has taken Alexander.
Oh, now isn't that a shame? Poor Sheriff's been injured.
Which is like, oh shit, like it's all getting real and we can't get out of this. The only way to save Alexander and end this holodeck story is to actually play out the entire story. So they're going to have to like actually act like real law enforcement, as if they're actually in the Old West. So
except of course Worf still has to make a fucking force field out of telegraph parts, and
I love it. I love it.
Which is something that's like a hallmark Star Trek thing too, especially in TNG. I remember there was an episode, not TNG, sorry, the original, where Spock and Kirk make, oh my God, there's like a whole bunch of them where they're just like, they're in like a different century. They're in like, you know, they're in the 1950s or the 1920s, and they use some components of like a telephone or like a whatever, a toilet, and they just make some I don't know. They make some like very advanced technology from their own like era, and it's just hilarious. It's like, oh, so we could have made this force field from a telegraph, but we never figured out how to do it.
I feel like the only actual future technology they have is their communicators, because they show like their you know, their Star Trek logo badges like explicitly. So I'm assuming he pulled some stuff out of that, but I'm like, but it's like a communicator. Like what in there makes a force field?
It's like a power source. I guess they like are using it as a power source, but still they're like using all these random bits.
It's
from
so funny.
Telegraph that somehow make
like,
a fucking fully functioning power source that ricochets bullets
Yeah, it's so funny. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, it's so dumb, but I also like, but I love it because it's like, that's your Western riff. Like you got the scene from Back to the Future and also whatever Clint Eastwood movie that was referencing, where he's wearing like the steel oven door or whatever that he uses as like a bulletproof vest, essentially.
Absolutely.
We're seeing the Star Trek version of that, which is really clever.
That's really cool. Yeah, I love it. I never tried. That's one thing, like, I've never been able to get into. It's easier with Star Wars to, like, not think about logic because it's so much more fantastical than Star Trek.
Right.
Like, Star Trek's a little bit more grounded, I think, in the science than Star Wars is.
Mm-hmm.
And so with Star Trek, like, I don't think too hard about anything they say because it's always, like you said, it's not the point. That's not the point of any of it. Like, if you focus on that, you're not going to enjoy it.
It's always some subspace electro field.
Yeah, it's an energy shortage, or, somebody forgot to turn off something, or like no one understands this alien. What are we going to do? Like, it doesn't matter how it came to be. Like, the fact that there's an entire story created out of it and you enjoy it and you're along for the ride, that's what's important.
Exactly. So. Yeah, fully agree. And that's a major strength of this episode, I think, is I think they push as far as they can with like making it as much of a classic Western as they can, so that when the little Star Trek elements enter into it, it doesn't, like, you're not thinking about it too much. You're just sort of like, oh, there's our space thing and our Western thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's our laser beam.
Right. Exactly. One of the other things, just another thing, I don't really know where to put it, but there is a bit when Worf is asking the bar for Klingon fire wine.
What do you have?
Klingon fire wine.
This ain't Kansas City. We ain't got none of that fancy European stuff here.
I love it. That's so good. The way that the holodeck characters interact with the Star Trek characters is one of my favorite components of the holodeck idea. Like, again, I'm just thinking, in the future, potentially, you will see more of this with the DS9 holodeck episode that I like, because the way that they alter, sometimes even the way that they like heavily influence the Star Trek characters' entire lives. Like, they can become their personalities in their own right. Like, for the most part, in this one, they're like NPCs, but they're not always NPCs, which is kind of cool. And they take on their own like personality and livelihood. And I mean, they definitely, they kind of get that way in this, but obviously this is a little different because Data is personifying literally almost every character that exists. He takes over all the NPCs in the end. It's like someone rewrote over the video game and all the NPCs have the same image. Like,
it's like it's like the Matrix, which Tommy told me you haven't seen. So
I wasn't gonna say because then I forgot that I don't actually know.
To make that reference to, because I knew it would be lost on you.
I saw it when I was like 8 or whenever the hell it first came out. So I don't remember anything about The Matrix when I'm 8 years old. And I haven't had time to rewatch it. So no, I have not seen The Matrix.
It is really interesting. I mean, like, I think it's funny too, because the way you're describing holodeck stuff, I've been thinking about it since you first mentioned it. It's like the difference between like a visual novel that you might play versus like Animal Crossing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, like, that's like, it feels like the other holodecks you're describing are like Animal Crossing.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Yeah, they live on without you. You go back and they're like, wow, you haven't been here in 5 years. I thought you hated me. And you're like, I'm so sorry. Your animals literally do that and it's awful. Or you get there and they're like, oh, I'm leaving because you're never here anymore. So fuck you. And it's like, oh my God. It's kind of like Toy Story 2 in that fact. It's like, you don't play with your toys, they get lonely. Like,
yeah. Oh, poor holodeck characters.
I
that
know.
Makes me so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in this particular one, it's not like that, at least.
No,
so it's a little less horrifying.
It's open and shut. It's open and shut for sure.
Very open and shut. Yeah. So like the Data and Geordi do like figure out what's going on. The power surge is causing like the main computer and like Data's processes to like swap memories / personalities. It doesn't matter, whatever. There's some kind of weird thing going on. They have to do a memory purge to restore both of them to normal operation. So all these Western Data swaps will stop. I do love when they figure this all out and Data kind of is like sort of going full bore into his Western mode as he's leaving. Everybody, you know, is obviously understandably kind of concerned, but then Riker like is kind of like lightly grinning like right at the end of the scene. Kind of like, yeah, I'm a little turned on by this.
But really, when is Riker not turned on by something?
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. Makes sense.
He turns around and looks at the wall and he's like, I'm turned on by that wall too. Okay. Like he just speaking of which, I love his silky blue shirt.
Yes. Oh, so, when he's in rehearsal.
That's like his rehearsing shirt, because there's another play that they do, which is a whole episode. That's one of my favorite episodes. It's like a fully Riker episode where he's in this play and he plays a crazy person, and then he starts to actually think he's crazy. Like, I won't go into the whole thing, but it's like one of my favorite episodes. Yeah, and he wears that sexy silky like blue. He's like, this is my actor shirt. Like,
of course he does.
Or my trombone playing shirt. Like, he always has to wear something silky when, you know. I think you're totally right. He was like, he was feeling himself. He was wearing that silky shirt, and then he's a very American white bread dude, and he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, cowboys can be very hot. Like,
Let's go play some cowboys and robots, Data.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, while we're talking about like horniness, I have another note that like just behind the scenes thing that I don't really know where to fit in, so we're on that topic, so might as well talk about it.
Yeah.
Apparently, early, like the original story for it that Wolf had pitched had Alexander also trying to like get Troy and Worf together, like romantically, like he wanted them to hook
up.
Yeah, and it was apparent. Jerry Taylor, the producer, said that they removed it because they were like, this episode should be more about like having fun on the holodeck and not that. And they said that the relationship with Alexander was becoming like too close to like more of a contemporary soap opera or sitcom, where it's like the plucky kid trying to get these two old folks together, like, and that just seems like not a thing that Star Trek like needs, not really.
Honestly,
you know?
I'm so glad they made that decision, even though I mean, is it a spoiler at this point that Worf and Troy do get together at some point? So
I did know that. Like, how do you feel about that?
I hate it. I just think I don't like it. I think it was so smushed together. Like, it just
it's a
especially
weird.
It was like at the end of the whole series. It was like, what? Where? Like, okay. First of all, can Worf just become a good dad? Like, can we just focus on his relationship with his son, maybe, and then like not worry about?
Yeah.
Not everybody has to come together and have like a perfect family. We don't need a mother and father and a son. Like, we can just have a father and a son, because, you know, fortunately Alexander has very supportive grandparents that like take care of him and stuff. So like, I wasn't sure what the point of that was. So I'm glad you brought that up, because that is disgusting, and I'm glad that they went this route instead.
Yeah, but I see what you're saying though, because I do think that like there's something really compelling about Worf being who he is and being sort of like this character that's torn between like his Klingon heritage and sort of like the more like human driven emotional, like, you know, emotional stuff that everybody else that surrounds him sort of pulls him towards, and then how to figure out how to manage that with the Klingon son. Like, I think that's really interesting for him to do that independently. And it does feel like if you throw Troy into the mix, it immediately becomes like, oh, well, obviously you need the empathetic mother figure to make all of this work out. He couldn't do this on his own. And it's like, I mean, it feels like too easy, you know, like, not that doesn't, obviously that happens in real life like very, I mean, not Klingons and Betazoids. I know they're not real, but like single fathers will sometimes meet mothers and they make and the family is better for it. That does happen. But also sometimes there are just single fathers who have to figure it out, and they do figure it out. And that's a really compelling story to see unfold. And
which may be why they like ended TNG with that. And they were like, oh shit, we need to not do this. And then they did DS9 where you have a single father and a son, and it works really great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still not Worf, who even comes back and is still struggling to have that poignant moment with his son. But at least there's,
funny.
There's oh my god, I'm blanking on everyone's name right
Jake
now.
and Captain Sisko, right?
Yep.
Is that you're thinking of?
I mean, they don't have, for the most part, for a long time. It's just him and his son, and it's that's another main reason that I love DS9. So like, I don't know, it's kind of funny. It's like they started to go one way with Worf, and they almost did it, but then they didn't do it.
Yeah, that is really interesting. So, that is one thing that might have colored my my perspective on Alexander, is because I have recently watched even just only a few episodes of DS9. I really like Jake and the actor who plays him. So then I get to Alexander and I'm sort of like, I feel like this kid is a step down from Jake. But all right.
Honestly, he is. Okay, so if you're going to decide who's better, Jake is absolutely better. And like, I love the affection of like Sisko and Jake. Like, I know that's not what we're talking about right now, but like they're okay. So they say I love you and they hug each other and kiss each other, and you would never see Worf do that.
Yeah.
With Alexander, who I still think is really cute and a good actor.
Sure.
If not really creepy outside of his makeup.
Oh, really?
I think he's a terrifying looking. He looks like a Chucky doll.
Oh no.
With blonde hair. You have to see it.
I'm glad I'm the less mean person towards Alexander on this podcast now. I feel good about that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. So yeah, we're kind of wrapping up the plot of this episode. Like we said, Worf creates a shield or force field. So you have this classic Western standoff where he's gonna trade Eli for Alexander, and there's a really nice, I think, character-driven sort of like conversation that's had between Worf and Troy, where Worf is just sort of like, okay, we agreed that like we'll trade and everything will be fine. And Troy's like, dude, this is like the classic Western tropes are that the bad guy is always going to betray you. You've got to prepare for that.
In every Western I've ever read, the villains always break their word. He can't be trusted.
But we have made an honorable agreement.
They're not concerned with honor, Worf. This is the ancient West. There's a gunfighter out there who has the speed and accuracy of an android. And in 2 hours, he's going to try to kill you.
Yeah.
And I love that like Worf doesn't understand, like, why would anyone like not want to be honorable? Like, that's such a dishonorable thing to do. I don't understand how we can have an entire culture where honor isn't a thing, which I think is really interesting.
It is, yes. Especially in Klingon culture, like honor, yes, is a huge thing. But then there's like there's also like, if you're on a Klingon ship, like one of the main things you should try to do is like kill your commanding officer. Like, so there's like this whole thing of betrayal. Like I guess it's done in an honorable way because they fight in battle, but like you still have to kind of like get a one up on the guy so you can actually kill him. So like,
sure,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting wrinkle, but I think for this episode specifically, I think it works to have like Worf's sort of views clashing with the old West. It makes sense in the context, but yeah, obviously they're able to with Troy's help and the force field's help, they're able to defeat Frank and his gang. Worf still gets to keep his honor because instead of just killing him,
do not show your face in this town again.
Let's go.
Which, lets Alexander, I guess, learn a good lesson or see something in his dad. It's a nice little moment. The story doesn't end there, though, because even though they think that they've completed everything, the holodeck still isn't shutting off, and they realize it's only after Miss Annie, who is like the barkeep person who loves Worf, now looking fully like Data, has to like thrust herself onto him for his bravery.
You're as handy with a shooting iron as you are with a woman's heart.
In program.
Which
love it.
Yeah,
I really think Brett Spiner was like waiting for that moment for the entire
I'm
episode.
sure.
Like
it's so fun. And it's funny because it's one of those things where it's sort of like there's a little bit of like a gay panic thing in there because Worf is like, oh no. But also like I fully believe that like Worf just doesn't want this like weird virtual Data to be like hugging and possibly making out with him. Like I get that. So it's like I think that kind of
he's terrifying.
Yeah. And it's funny too, because it's so awkward. Like after Data, Annie is like hugging on Worf, like the screen goes grainy and holds for a bit because they're going to have the CGI effect of the holodeck fading away. So like there's just this long awkward moment where like Brent Spiner is just cuddling on him. It's so funny.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Actual ending of the episode. Everything's sort of normal. Everything's fine. Sweet moment where like Alexander's probably like, yeah, I know you're never going to want to do this again. But Worf's like,
the town of Deadwood may face danger once again. If they do, they will need a sheriff.
Yeah.
It's really cute.
So cute.
My favorite thing, I probably am going to like screenshot it and do something with it. Worf in the mirror with the cowboy hat on and his like big toothy grin. So good. It's so
his
good.
ugly ass teeth. Scary Klingon
it's
teeth.
So funny.
And then the Enterprise rides off into a sun.
Literally, yeah, like it's riding off into like, it's like a planet obscuring the sun a little bit. So it like kind of looks like a sunset, basically. It's really clever. I love that actually. I wasn't, and that didn't even click with me when I watched it the first time. It wasn't until afterwards. And it's like, oh no, they're literally riding off into the sunset. That's great.
So cute.
Yeah.
Such a good, wholesome episode, really.
It is. It's really wholesome. I think they do so many clever things. Like, I guess like the thing that I think is that I appreciate a lot about it is that they aren't like subverting like Western stuff. Like all the actual Western trappings are very straightforward and like are exactly as you would expect them to be in terms of like how the plot moves along and what the sets look like and the character archetypes and everything. So the only thing that they're doing differently is just throwing in the little Star Trek bit. So having the alien characters and having Data play every character at certain points, which I think is a nice thing to do. Like there's not any, like we're doing a twist on Westerns. It's like, no, it literally is just what if Star Trek characters are in a Western and like, that's it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of all you need to make it really good and really fun.
That's what fan fiction is. Again, it's like a whole what if, like, you know, we do this. And so it's like a holodeck fan, like holodecks are like a fan fiction episode. In most respects, really, because you get to put, because there's a whole genre of fan fiction that allows you to put the characters in a different universe, right? Like I used to read, oh my God, there was like this is so random, but there was like this like 500-page ass Harry Potter fan fiction that was set in like New York City. And I was super gay and it was super like, I don't even remember what happened in it, but it was just like Harry and Draco, obviously.
Oh,
and
of course.
They were modern and, you know, but I don't remember anything else about it. So I'm not going to say anything and I'm not going to slam anybody for writing fan fiction because I've absolutely written fan fiction, but that's kind of what reminds me of like a holodeck. It's like putting your favorite characters into a different alternate reality, like like literally, you know.
It's like a fan fiction like AU story.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah, which is like I can't believe that didn't like occur to me. Yeah, that's so true. It's like a way to do that, but like still keep it in universe.
Yeah,
like they aren't literally going to another universe. They're just It's like that's so funny. I mean, I guess that's because that's what any like lots of shows do these sort of like genre swap things.
Yeah.
It's just they usually have to work a little harder to make it work. It usually just ends up being a dream sequence or like some weird time travel thing or a literal parallel universe. Like that's the ingenuity of Star Trek and the holodeck is being able to literally do an AU episode within the actual continuity of the show. That's so cool. Yeah. Any other spare thoughts or feelings about this episode?
No, you just made me want to watch Star Trek all over again. Like, I know I just did it, and I've moved on to other things, and as far as moved on, I mean, like I'm obsessed with it and love it, but like there's newer stuff that I've been watching. I have been watching Star Trek Prodigy, which just came out too.
Oh yeah.
Which is the animated show, and that's really fun and really adorable. And I'm really excited about that. So I am still watching some Star Trek, but that just made me want to rewatch all of TNG and really get nostalgic for DS9 and excited that you're watching it now because it's so near and dear to me. You know how excited you get when like someone watches something that you really, really love. So
yeah. I think and you should definitely watch the movies too, because I will. The movies that are good are really, really, really good. So I'm excited, but I'm excited for you. At the very least, like watch like First Contact. I think like First Contact itself, that's the one that I really love a lot.
Okay.
But you know, there's a number of them that are really good.
All right, cool.
Cool. Well, thanks so much for doing this with me and helping me along my Star Trek journey.
Yay! I'm so honored.
Yeah. If anyone wants to talk Star Trek with you or anything else, where can they find you on the internet, Cassie?
I'm on Twitter. My name is Cassie Thulu, so like Cthulhu, but with Cassie at the front of it. Follow me on Twitter, and my partner and I have a Star Wars podcast called Distant Echoes, which is Distant Echoes SW on Twitter. But I'm mostly just retweeting tons of nerdy stuff that I'm into. So
nice. Well, thank you again. If you'd like to follow me, you can find me on Twitter at Derek B. Gale or on my other podcasts, Walloping Web Snappers, a Spider-Man podcast, which does deep dives into every Spider-Man cartoon ever made, and also Falling with Style, an ongoing Pixar movie marathon, which is a monthly podcast that dives into every Pixar film chronologically. You can also follow this podcast at Gimmicks Pod on Twitter and Instagram for some extra goodies, probably like that Worf image of him smiling with his cowboy hat on. It's so good. You can also email me your questions, feedback, and corrections. I'm sure there's plenty of them because this is a Star Trek episode, y'all nerds know fucking everything about that. You can email me at gimmickspodcast@gmail.com, and please rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast on all podcast platforms. Helps people find this show. Until next time, friends, keep being weird.
Jean-Luc, Geordi Specs, mysteries on the holodecks, asteroids, triple droids, telepathic betazoids, transporter, deadly claw, visitor from LA Law, photons, no Kirk, captain has gone berserk, shuttlecraft, Council Troy, Dr. Crusher's little boy, Klingon rights, parasites, new heights, phaser fights, Data's head, Tasha's dead, Wyker's hanging by a thread, celebration, transformations, everyone to battle station. Start the series. It's the next generation on your favorite station. We didn't start the series, but when we are gone, it'll still be on. We didn't start the series. It's the next generation on your favorite station. We didn't start the series.
I'm beginning to see the appeal of this program.